Alternative Healthcare Career Group. This is Dr. Mike Chu, a physical therapist, and yes, I am your alternative career coach, wherein we help you find your alternative healthcare career. And good evening. If you are watching live, letter L, whenever you do that, letter L, comment live if you're watching live. If you're watching on the replay, how do you do that? Letter R. Comment replay. So we just want to know if you're watching live, watching replay, and if you guys are actually being inspired with all these people that we are interviewing. So yeah, if you are watching live, please comment live. Watching on the replay, please comment replay. Well, anyway, this episode tonight is brought to you by MedbridgeEducation.com, and use the code alternative ALTERNATIV to get 40% discount. Not 10%. Not 20, not 30, but 40%. So use the code alternative, and that way you can get a special discount. And of course, we get a little bit of some credits from them, some POGI points, or we call it brownie points, right? So as Lindsay says, she is live. What's going on, Lindsay Fisher? So if you guys are watching live, comment that you are live. And then comment also where you at. Type in the city and the state or the country where you at, because we want to know and acknowledge you. Right now, I'm from outer space. I'm from Star Wars, right? So a shout out to whoever created Star Wars. George Lucas, right? George Lucas, thank you very much for creating Star Wars. Who doesn't like Star Wars, right? So if you are a Star Wars guy, comment I'm a Star Wars guy. And if you are a Star Trek guy, comment Star Trek guy. Well, anyway, I know this is, I'm seeing it in the Facebook group. It's Fitz Herbert Harry. Fitz, you got to be in this show, man. You got to be in this show. We got to talk about your thing, again, because I took your advice, brother. I took my business card, put it in a magnetic thing, and man, I'm giving it away. Instead of them throwing it away, they're putting it in their fridge. They're keeping it. Thank you very much for your tip, but we got to bring you back here, brother. Well, anyway, tonight we got a special guest, but before we keep on going, we always want to provide, some valuable inspiration for you. Right over here, it's a quote that I have on my calendar. It says here, people will give up on you. Don't give up on you. People will give up on you. Companies will give up on you. Your friend will give up on you. My spit is coming up. I hope the person who I'm going to interviewing is covering her mouth. She's got a mask, right? The people around you will give up on you. Even your own best friend, your spouse, or your family member will eventually give up on you. But don't give up on yourself. There's so much potential in you, ladies and gentlemen. There's so much potential in you. Just don't give up. You just keep pushing. Just keep going. Earlier, I was just talking to one of my coaching students, and he was asking me, before I came in and live, we went out to, dinner, drink and, be merry and everything. He asked me, Michael, I'm an entry-level DPT. And how can I convince my patients to charge cash? And I said, no, you're not an entry-level DPT. You are a DPT. You already got a license. You already got a license. Yes, you may not have that experience, but you are the expert in whatever field that you are choosing to go to. Same thing with you, ladies and gentlemen. Same thing with you. Whatever position or title that you have, whether you're a PT, OT, DPT, speech, SLP, whatever, you are already the expert in this field. You might as well own it. And like what I said, people will give up on you, but Captain David said he's not going to give up on you. He's still going to push you and bring out the best in you. Okay, thank you very much, Captain D, for watching live. Appreciate you. But without further ado, I'm going to read our special guest for tonight. You're going to be inspired with this. You're going to inspire with this lady, because she is actually an occupational therapist. And I'm just going to read her bio, and we're going to bring her in. That way you guys could be inspired, because the purpose of the show, Alternative Healthcare Career Show, is to interview different therapists, PT, OT, speech, how they found their alternative career and how they are actually maneuvering this this journey called life, Life, right? So tonight we've got Shannon Babcock. She is an occupational therapist, an MFR. And you know what MFR, ladies and gentlemen? If you know what MFR is, type in what MFR is. And she is a licensed OT and an MFR practitioner. She received her bachelor's in social and behavioral sciences, followed by a master's in OT from University of Southern Maine in 2009. She doesn't look like that old. She looks pretty young, right? The combination of this degree program, okay, facilitates a unique understanding of the mind body connection necessary to achieve holistic wellness. And I was just talking to her before we went live, and she has this practice about MFR, manual therapy, and everything. So for those OTs who are thinking they cannot do this, MFR, the OTs who think they cannot do manual therapy and holistic wellness, you got to listen to this lady, okay? So during her 12-year career, she has become an expert in dementia care. Whoa, right? Dementia care. I like that. I'm a dementia guy too. So aside from dementia care, she does MFR and functional nutrition. She currently works with a national team of healthcare professionals and community members who seeks to provide accessible education to the community regarding functional nutrition. A lot of you here in our group, they would always ask, "Whoa, I want to practice functional nutrition, Michael." And some person's like, "I learn about functional nutrition." Yeah, guess what? Reach out to this lady, right? Okay, so she is the owner of Babcock Functional Health and also an independent Lifewave consultant. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we please welcome Shannon, OT, MFR, FST, ABC, CBD, whatever, Shannon. Welcome to the show, Shannon. I appreciate you. Please tell us where you are, what do you do, and please encourage us how we can find our alternative career, Miss Shannon.
Well, as you said, I'm in Maine, which, that's why the sweater, because it's getting pretty cold up here. And you, Mike, didn't even know that Maine was one of the good old United States. So I'm very close to the Canadian border, and it's getting pretty cold here.
So what's the temperature right now? I mean, yeah, it's like negative or?
Not negative yet. In the mornings, we've had some frost at this point, and definitely below 40, a couple of nights below 30 degrees. So it's been kind of rough, and I'd love to move south, but my husband is a snow person and he loves the colder weather. So, unless I want to get divorced, I think I'm probably stuck in Maine for the rest of my life.
Let's not talk about the D word.
That's right. All right. Yeah, so I started my career in skilled nursing, right? Which I think is where a lot of OTs start. It's pretty appealing based on the income. When you're first getting out of school we have college loans, right? And so we want to be able to make some money to be able to pay back this debt that we now have. And unfortunately, what I found in skilled nursing was that it was not about the outcomes and the client care. It was about the profits. And I was fairly naive, as I think a lot of people are, when I first started working in skilled nursing. And so I was a new OT and I was being trained, and I was in probably one of the largest nursing homes in Maine. And it was interesting because you and I both have a fondness for dementia care. And when I was being toured as a brand new grad, I was taken up to our dementia unit. And the OT who toured me told me that it was the most disgusting place, and she hoped that she never got referrals for that.
Oh, wow.
So pretty intimidating, right? And doesn't really make you want to help people with dementia. So about a year into my career, the company that I was working for asked for a long-term care guru. I volunteered, and a physical therapist pulled me aside and told me I was committing career suicide by volunteering for that.
Oh, wow.
When I started working with dementia, I realized that I was not prepared for the skill set that was necessary. School, gave us a snapshot about what dementia care looked like. So I started taking a lot of courses. 2 years into my career, I was given an opportunity to start a rehab in an all dementia facility. So I took that, I built the rehab from the ground up, and about 2 years later, I left because corporate rehab was treating people with dementia like dollar signs, and I couldn't do it anymore. So I moved with another corporate contract, and again, just wasn't satisfied. In addition to that, not only was I not satisfied, but I felt I was a pretty strong patient advocate. And in doing so, the administrator decided that she did not like the fact that I was a patient advocate and wanted me gone. And so for a lot of us who are working in corporate rehabs that are contracts, you know that you're at the mercy of your building. And so when she wanted me gone, it didn't matter about the clinical outcomes I was providing, the education or the training, I was gone. And so I actually left OT for about 4 years. And thought that my career was over. I got pretty depressed in that time. And so I decided that I was trying to branch out. So I did some work as a human resource consultant for a mental health and substance abuse facility. And then I moved on to what I consider not to be my highlight of my career, and I was working for an insurance company as a patient care advocate, and the way that it was sold to me was that I was actually going to be able to advocate for patients and make sure they were getting their needs met. And that didn't turn out to be that way as well. So becoming more and more depressed and more unsatisfied, I decided that I was done with this and I was going to start my own business doing myofascial release, because I'd received some training on that. Attended courses and knew that the outcomes I was getting with patients was far exceeding what I was able to provide in a skilled rehab setting. Unfortunately, I got a business loan and I started that job, or my business, I should say, in September of last year. And so I was just starting to generate a clientele. I was getting really positive reviews, and then COVID came. And so I was providing manual therapy, right? And with manual therapy, you can't maintain social distancing. And I've got people lying on a massage table who asking them to wear a mask is extremely difficult. It's hard to breathe, especially if you're face down. Mm-hmm. And so I had to give up the lease in the functional medicine practice that I was working in and figure out how I was going to make this business float, all the while receiving messages from my clients who had been to traditional physical therapy, who had been seeing acupuncturists, their biomedical doctors, and not receiving any of the results that they were receiving with me. So I was at a crossroads of, people can't experience my hands. What other options do I have to provide the relief? And that's when I learned about and came upon Lifewave. And so with Lifewave, I'm a huge proponent of non-pharmaceutical holistic methodologies whenever possible. And so this is a group that does phototherapy patches. So each patch is made of organic crystals, and the crystals are intended to create a light wave frequency within the body used on acupuncture points that stimulate the body to heal itself. Mm-hmm. And so I did my due diligence and I looked at the research with over 80 clinical studies for the patches showing what they were doing. Double-blind, placebo-controlled, third-party validated, all the gold standard, right? But I'm never, ever going to use this on a patient if I haven't tried it myself. So I started trying the patches and seeing some significant results, which I'm happy to talk about, and I'm happy to share the results that I've been getting with my clients. But that was one of the methodologies that I was able to use to keep my practice alive and still provide healing to people that I wasn't able to put my hands on. And I will say that it's an MLM, which people aren't a fan of, and I'm not necessarily a fan of, because I'm not a salesperson in any way, shape, or form. If you can't show me the evidence, if I can't experience the evidence, then I want nothing to do with you. But what I found is the clients that I was using the products on, initially testing them and never asking anybody to buy anything, were having such amazing results that they actually started referring their friends to me. So I was still able to provide healing. I was able to do it remotely, and I was able to do it in a way that does not provide any medication in the body. It actually stimulates the body's ability to heal itself, which I think is pretty phenomenal.
You know what you mentioned about that, thank you for pointing what you said. But before I keep on going, ladies and gentlemen, I like what Shannon did. She had to learn how to adapt and adjust her current situation. She got tired of working in the nursing home, corporate America, and everything, and she had to move out. And she became an HR person, writing everything down. And then she became a patient care advocate. She even tried, starting her small practice called, MFR. I mean, Fitz already mentioned myofascial release, and there's a different market for that, ladies and gentlemen. MFR, you go search in Google. People are doing amazing things. PT, OT, massage therapist doing MFR. I even know an RN who's actually doing MFR technique. I'm assuming you got this from John Barnes, Shannon. So is that true, John Barnes? So look him up. I'm not even connected, but just look him up. Learn about it. Somebody's watching live. I think this is Jennifer Ann. Thank you very much, Jennifer, for watching live. Appreciate you. That's in our group right now. But she had to learn how to adapt and adjust. And earlier we were just talking, with one of my coaching student. We were talking about, patients, they don't care your intervention. Yeah, insurances, they care about intervention, but all the patient cares, taking them from point A to point B, point A to point B. For example, the goal is to walk 100 feet. Let's just say to go to, I'm a PT. So the goal is to 100 feet. They don't care if you're doing a therapeutic exercise, activity, or gait training in your ed, or doing some upper body, whatever. Well, all they care is just, okay, help me walk 100 feet. Same thing with whatever goals that you have in mind. It's about the goals. It's about the goals. So let's bring back Shannon back. Shannon, thank you very much again for coming over. You mentioned about doing your MFR. So you closed your practice for now because of COVID?
I had closed my practice for about 5 months. For a period of that time, I was still paying on my lease. And so my business account was draining, and I still had a business loan. I did have a small area attached to my home, which is where I am right now. And so as the restrictions here in Maine were lifting, I did have a few clients who have started coming back to me and referring new people. And that's wonderful. I'm super excited about that. But at the same time, when anybody who's listened to Bob Proctor, right, he talks about having multiple revenue streams because you never know when one is going to get pulled out from under you. And I was also working with another company who has supplements, and that company decided to move out of their current modality into another modality, which was another financial hit to me due to COVID. I still refer people to that company because I absolutely believe in the products. And I think that's the big thing. If anybody's ever going to look at an MLM, one of the things that you need to ask yourself is, would you still recommend this product if you could not make money off of them? And so I had 2 revenue streams being pulled out from under me due to COVID. And, moving forward, while I do have myofascial clients starting to see me on nights and weekends, because I do have to have a 40-hour job to make sure I can, put a roof over my head, feed my children, and now deal with this business loan that nobody foresaw going under. So with COVID still being what it is and increasing, especially here in Maine, I'm not 100% sure that the rug isn't going to get pulled back out from under me where my MFR practice is concerned. So I do have the Lifewave that allows me to do remote healing. But in addition to that, when we talked about the nutritional aspect, or you introduced that aspect of what I do, and I am connected with practitioners throughout the US who are dealing in functional nutrition. So part of what makes me really proud to work with this group of people is a lot of what we do is free. So we have Zoom calls every Monday evening where we talk about functional nutrition and the latest research. That anybody can come on, it's free to them. They're able to ask questions. It's run by a certified nurse nutritionist who 15 years ago had 3 autoimmune disorders, and she was practicing in the medical field and got no relief until she started learning about nutrition. There are books, there are resources, there's all kinds of information, and I know to a certain extent I'm probably preaching to the choir. But we still provide services to people so that they're able to understand what the resources are, where they can get the information. And before COVID occurred, we were providing 3 free dinners a month for people to come receive education. And the entire team was making dinner for them with clean recipes that they could come and experience and see that eating well actually didn't taste disgusting, which is what everybody fears, right?
Wow, that is amazing. That is amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are still watching live, please comment live. Watching on the replay, please comment replay. I like what Shannon mentioned. Sometimes you just have to reinvent yourself. I like what she said about having reviewed this gentleman. His name is Ryan Reger, and he's got that podcast called Multiple Streams of Income. He's got, he's not a therapist, but I learned a lot from him, doing, selling stuff in Amazon, doing retail arbitrage and everything like that. But that's what I do, ladies and gentlemen. I have multiple streams of income. I teach online. I go online, right? I teach the Alzheimer's disease and dementia care seminar, by the way. If you want to be a certified dementia practitioner, come and join that, let me turn that off, that show or that class called Alzheimer's disease and dementia care seminar. That's one of my many sources of income. We also sell different courses here in our group, like the mentor class, the MENTOR, and stuff like that. And probably, let's just say, I earn, pretty good money doing online stuff. I have a small outpatient clinic. We have a small staffing agency. We have my wife runs a small flea market. So we've got multiple sources of income, and you gotta learn how to do that. If you just depend on one source and you're working and then you get fired, like what happened to me, guess what? It's gonna affect your financial stuff. So you got to make sure to find different ways and sources of income, and that's what Shannon is here for. She's here to teach us how to do that. So Shannon, before I keep on going, what is, well, you mentioned about MFR. What do MFR people do? What is that? For the benefit of the people who don't know. So
Sure. So the myofascial system, if you actually look up the interstitial organ, which is actually the myofascial system, and they're now just saying that they have discovered it. The myofascial system is the largest connective tissue system, and depending on your philosophy, organ system within the body. It's connected head to toe. It penetrates down into the nucleus of the cell, and each component of it is connected. And so what happens is when people are experiencing dysfunction in the body, it's often due to restricted fascia. And that can be caused by our diets. It can be caused by injury. It can be caused by personal trauma. And one area of bound down fascia can feel like 2,000 pounds of pressure per square inch. And so what we seek to do when we're practicing myofascial release is to release the fascia, which also is responsible for storing toxins in the body. So the fascial system is an electrical system. In some studies, it's being looked at as the second nervous system, but also the interstitial fluid runs through that. It looks like a three-dimensional fluid-filled spider web. And when that's bound down, a couple of things happen where the foods that you're eating, your vitamins and nutrients, can't always get to where they need to go because you have essentially a roadblock in the way. But also what's happening with that roadblock is toxins are being trapped. And there's a lot of research showing that this may actually be the origin of tumors. So in freeing up the fascial system, we are allowing the body to move more fluidly because the fascial system should glide. We're alleviating pain. We're increasing range of motion. We're freeing toxins. So we encourage people to drink a lot of water to flush that out, but we're also allowing the body to work more effectively in distributing nutrients to where they're supposed to go. That's the quick down and dirty of it.
Quick, down and dirty, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I didn't know about that. All I know, myofascial release. Myofascial, I know it's myofascial and everything, and until I read on it and everything and saw people actually, I mean, some person, did that on my back and it felt better, because like what Shannon said, ladies and gentlemen, it's another organ system. It's actually the biggest organ system. Is that how you say it? Organ system in our body. The skin itself, the epidermis and the dermis. Imagine that.
And if I may share a quick story, I had a woman who heard me speak about the myofascial system who's been a massage therapist for years. And she came to see me for elbow pain. And she'd been to physical therapy and they were treating the elbow. And she didn't have relief. And so when she came to me, I did an assessment and I said, part of the issue with the way that we practice medicine right now is that we treat the local area. And with myofascial release, the philosophy is treat the symptom, look elsewhere for the cause. And I said, based on what I'm seeing, the issue is not in your elbow, it's actually in your neck and shoulder. And until we release that, you're not going to get relief. And so in one session, she already had relief for the longest period that she'd ever had. And she continued to come and see me. And then she started referring her massage clients to me and said, I hate to give up business, but if the massage that I'm providing is not giving them relief, then I need them to come and see you.
That is so powerful. Did you hear that, ladies and gentlemen? There are two things that Shannon mentioned there. As a therapist, I was just doing this earlier to one of my students in the PTA that working at. We were seeing a shoulder patient, and nothing against the previous therapist or other therapists. They were treating the shoulder because that was the doctor's order. You can't blame them, right? So okay, right. Do range of motion, blah 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 blah. Active assisted range of motion and stuff like that. And I came in. I said, "Well, have they touched your neck?" She was like this, but they were doing, she was like this. And they were taking care of the shoulder. Well, I said, let's go ahead and take care of that neck first. And that patient, what the patient told me? Nobody's touched my neck. Nobody has touched her neck. And, sometimes this is what happens because we're also, us PTs, OT, we were once technicians by the physician or the nurses. And that's the reason why it's becoming like a master's degree in a doctoring profession. That's where our critical thinking comes in. We treat the patient as a whole, just like what Shannon did. It was an elbow issue, but what the other people are doing? They're treating the elbow. Well, guess what? Look beyond. There's something probably going on now, something else going on else, right? English is not my first language. Something probably going on somewhere else. It could be the shoulder. It could be the neck. Well, guess what? Sometimes when a patient has, shoulder issues, it could be the low back too. That's where the MFR comes in. But guess what? That principle of MFR, the principle of looking at a patient as a whole, that's what's called holistic wellness. That's what's called holistic approach. You can actually apply that in your career. in your career. Don't look at, I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to do a skilled nursing home or home health. Well, guess what? Look at it as a whole thing. Step back, ladies and gentlemen. You cannot see the picture, just like there's pictures here of my family. I cannot see the whole picture if I am inside that picture. You cannot find your alternative career, ladies and gentlemen, AHC group, if you are inside. You got to step back. And that's what Shannon is doing, ladies and gentlemen. She has stepped back on her career as an OT. She actually stepped out, right, Shannon? You did, right?
Absolutely. I did for 4 years.
For 4 years. And now she's doing this. It's 9 o'clock, Shannon. For speaking of stepping back, I just have to step back in a minute and just go show our sponsored ad.
HelloNote is a truly therapist-friendly practice management solution with integrated EMR that will enhance workflow, efficiency, and patient care. HelloNote reduces error and allows you to spend more time with your patients. It comes integrated with billing. Claims are generated once a note is completed. You can bill with one click and a patient portal, which streamlines the patient intake process. Beautifully engineered and cloud-based for easy accessibility, the software works on all platforms. You can access patient records from anywhere. We also offer 24/7 support. HelloNote is the practice management solution that you're looking for.
Welcome back, Alternative Healthcare Career Group. Yes, that is HelloNote. I actually use HelloNote. So Shannon was talking about multiple sources of income. You got to have multiple sources of income, not multiple spouses, but multiple sources of income. Okay, that's I just want to be clear. So one of my multiple sources of income is using HelloNote, where actually we see patients at home in their assisted living and also independent living facilities. So you got to check that out. HelloNote, it's an awesome EMR. It's so easy to use. I did an evaluation earlier, and I think I'm already used to the system. I finished it in 15 minutes. I did that because I already know where to click. 15 minutes, imagine that. So speaking of 15 minutes, this not going to last 15 minutes. It's just going to last a minute.
A new rehab device is changing lives in physical therapy and possibly impacting those with debilitating diseases.
They said I was never going to run, and I'm running.
The last physical therapist I went to told me not to come back because there wasn't anything they could do for me. I didn't have much hope, but the first day they put the new gate on me, I immediately felt my leg again.
It actually wasn't a new gate when I saw the device. I saw it on Facebook, actually, as a training device for runners. No one had ever used it for therapy before. And to be able to just take this thing that was kind of unheard of, put it on and go from walking down the hallway with 2 canes to walking without a cane and looking so much more confident almost immediately. That's kind of a highlight day for a therapist.
They said I was never going to run, and I'm running.
An invention geared towards athletes has inspired a new tool for physical therapy throughout the UP.
TV6's Nicole Buckman has more on the life-changing new gait device.
Improving therapy outcomes and restoring hope to patients. The Newgate is a patented wearable harness system comprised of shoulder straps, a waist belt, and limb straps, all interconnected by strategically placed elastic bands.
There was a point where I just wanted to stop and give up. The Newgate kind of gave me that hope again.
A patient introduced me to the Newgate. To me, it clicked right away that it would make sense. And I've been using it with patients on a regular basis ever since.
We're a team who cares in a way that is maybe unique for this day that we live in. And there's something within me that is really fulfilled by working on this project and watching what it can do.
All right. Thank you very much. thenewgate.com. You got to check it out. They got this 30-day free trial. Check it out at thenewgate.com. I need to get that for my patients. It's just amazing. Oh, I wish I invented it, period. I've been meaning to, I don't know about you, Shannon. I know we're going to come back with Shannon. But as a PT, I've been putting like an ACE wrap on the tibialis part, the tibialis anterior. I would wrap that and then wrap it around the foot and then to put some dorsiflexion on the foot when we're doing gait training. And in my head, that's the purpose there. I wish I invented that. Well, anyway, if you want to check it out, there's a 30-day free trial. Check it out, thenewgate.com. I wish I have it here. Normally, we have somebody behind us here doing the controls. But yeah, check it out, thenewgate.com. So speaking of being innovative, we're going to bring back our guest for tonight. Her name is Shannon. She's actually an OT, MFR practitioner, and everything like that. You got to check her out. We're bringing her back here. There you go, Shannon. Shannon, before you keep on going and before I ask you the next question, I like what on your whatever you call that on your wall by Maya Angelou. I always say that during my classes. Can you read it for us?
People will forget. All right. People will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And I first learned about that, Mike, probably similar to you with Dementia Care, right? Because one of the last systems left intact for people who have dementia is their limbic system, and that's their emotion center. And so when I teach dementia training, I teach people that your residents may not remember your face because I work in long-term care, but they will remember the sound of your voice. And if you are the individual that made them feel badly, they will remember that sensation and they will avoid you. And good luck ever coming back from that. But if you are the person who is kind to them, then they will gravitate toward you and they will do almost anything that you ask. But I also like to take this one step further into not only the feeling of emotion, but the feeling of good health, right? Because how many times do we hear our clients come in who have been through everything and they still feel miserable and they're grasping at straws and they're throwing money at everything because they just want to physically feel better, to be able to be involved in their life and not be miserable. And so this quote is something that I live in my practice, both for a measurement of my success with how clients feel emotionally when they come to see me. Are they being heard, or am I somebody who's just rushing them through because I've got another client and productivity and all of that that I have to be mindful of? But also, how do they feel physically when they leave me? And does that sensation last? Are they getting enduring relief?
That is so true. That is so true. It is so applicable both when we're taking care of a dementia patient, because that's the same quote I show during our Alzheimer's disease and dementia care seminar class, and also the same thing when you're actually treating a person. You know, they will forget what you said. They will forget what you actually did. You know, they will forget, the lecture that you said. They'll forget that, when you're telling the patient, when you're telling the patient, oh, you got to do your home exercise, they'll forget that. They will forget the manual therapy that you did. They'll forget that. But they will never forget how you made them feel. Did you make them feel good and awesome? Or did you make them feel like, same thing, just like a nurse. Okay, just like a nurse, there's this nurse who is so knowledgeable in everything, but you go to her, she's like so mean and everything. You don't want to go to her, even though she's the best nurse. You want to go to that nurse who was actually really nice to you, make you feel special and everything like that, even though she's a newbie or something like that. Same thing with our practice. Thank you for pointing that out, Shannon.
And I know, Mike, that one of the things that you work with people on is feeling confident in having a cash-based business. And that is difficult. I will say that for sure when you're explaining to people that you don't take insurance and you only take cash. But here's what I explain to them. When we're regulated by insurance companies, the way insurance measures success is very different than the patient and us. We're able to see success minutely in a way that insurance companies don't recognize, right? They want to see leaps and bounds. And in addition to that, depending on the setting that we're working in, it's all productivity based. And so being able to sit down and actually spend that time so that that feeling component comes into place is blown up. it's out the door because we're not allowed to spend that time. We've got a productivity standard and we need to show something to the insurance company. But in a cash-based business, usually the first 30 minutes of my session is checking in with that person. What's going on for them? Not only related to what it was that we did the week before, but what's happening emotionally and economically. What are all of the factors in their life that are really creating either health or debility? Because if I ignore any one of them, then I'm still not treating the whole person. Just like if I'm only looking at the elbow and the origin of the problem is in the shoulder.
That is so powerful, Shannon. You mentioned about, doing cash practice and doing everything. Yes, I still accept insurance, but yes, we also accept cash, check or credit card or whatever you call that. But there's power over your business if you are doing it on your own, ladies and gentlemen. If you are, actually in control of the business. And then I like what Shannon said, the productivity requirements. The other day, nothing against home health. I still do home health, by the way. But I covered for another therapist. I used to see, right now I do Part B and I do cash base. So when you're doing cash base, you're providing the best service because, they're paying you cash, right? So you're providing the best over the top service. You're doing MFR, you're doing manual therapy, you're doing stretching, really just giving the best service, top of the line service. And I was there for a full hour with the patient. And the patient said, I've never felt so special. I never did anything. I just did the usual thing that we do for a full hour. And I asked her, how long does their therapist comes in here? She said, oh, they only come in here for like 15, 20 minutes. I'm not blaming the other therapists because they have to see more patients for productivity, which is, it's part, of the corporate system that we do. So they have to see like 7 or 8 in a day and then travel far, which I did too before. Now I can choose whoever I go to and spend the whole hour and get paid the same in just being the best that I can be for the patients and the clients. And like what you said, Shannon, we are stuck with the productivity mindset. And sometimes when you're doing, your own thing, you can spend like 20, 30 minutes just listening to them, making them feel better and addressing all their needs. When I did that, when I covered for that home health agency, and I was focused on the paperwork. I was on the computer because they wanted me to finish the computer right there and then, right? And with doing your own thing, you can actually bring out the best in them, being a holistic practitioner, just like Shannon. Shannon, before I ask you the next question, I'm going to ask you the next question. What is your biggest failure and how did you turn it around, sister? What is your biggest failure and how did you turn it around?
Honestly, I would say, hindsight being what it is, and also not many options, right? I would probably say that my biggest failure was falling into a corporate rehab mechanism, where I was forced to look at clients as though they were dollar signs. I was looking at generating revenue and not outcomes, and was very clearly shown that becoming a patient advocate, which is what I thought when I went to school, right? This is the naive part. I thought that's what I was supposed to do, was advocate for my patients, only to find that in doing so, I was terminated from my job. And the crazy part was this corporate rehab that I was working for at the time, when they came to deliver me my belongings, said to me, do you have any idea how much your therapists love you and respect you? And I said, absolutely, I do. Because everything I do is to make sure that they're capable of doing their jobs and that they feel supported. And he said to me, I don't know what I'm going to do, because half of them are going to leave because the building's so dysfunctional, and the other half are going to leave because of what we've done to you. And I said, that's your issue, not mine. I'm the one without a job raising children right now. And simply because I was advocating for my clients and was mistakenly working for an entity, so a contract in a building where I also wasn't valued as an employee, I was replaceable in a number. So turning that around wasn't easy. I left after that for 4 years and thought, I can't do this anymore. And Maine is saturated with corporate rehab. And I think I kind of got to a place that I hope other people don't have to, where I hit rock bottom. Physically and emotionally, I wasn't doing well. And I finally took a good long look in the mirror and said I was capable of more than this. And so I started asking questions and investigating, and that's how I ended up with my own business. And even though COVID came, I was confident enough in what I was doing, and having moved back out of that tragedy in my life to actually starting my own business, knew that I was going to overcome what COVID had done. And so I just kept my nose to the grindstone and looking at all the opportunities in different ways that I could reinvent myself. So while that was my biggest failure in some respects, it was also the greatest impetus to push me to where I am now.
Oh, wow. That is so powerful, ladies and gentlemen. If you are watching live, please comment live. Watching on the replay, comment replay. And if you have been fired or furloughed or let go, you're just like me and Shannon, and this is perfect today.
Yes, it is. I loved it.
People will give up on you, but don't give up on yourself, ladies and gentlemen. People will fire you. No, look at what Shannon did. She didn't give up on herself. She focused on being a patient advocate. She focused on being the best manager, being the best therapist. Well, guess what? When she quit, or were you fired, Shannon?
I was fired.
When she got terminated, ladies and gentlemen, her fellow therapists followed her and quit too, because she was focused on her goal. Don't be, there's this quote in the Bible, somewhere in Genesis and Revelation, don't be conformed in the world, but be conformed by the Spirit. Sounds spiritual, but actually, if you're going to translate it in the business world, don't be conformed in the business world while you're doing productivity requirements, blah, 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 blah. Be conformed by the Spirit means your conscience, your etiquette. Is that how you say? Your etiquette, your whatever, what's inside you, your conscience.
Ethics.
The ethics. That's the word there. Thank you, Shannon. I'm running out of English. If English is not your first language, type in your first language, because I am running out of English talking to Shannon, using all my brain cells in my limbic system, like what she said. Don't be conformed in the world. Don't be conformed with that productivity. Yes, they will fire you. If you've been fired, type in I've been fired or whatever, let go, furloughed, because they will fire you if you are doing the right thing. Guess what? I was fired too last year. Of course, they say it's my fault. Yeah, I was doing the right thing for the patients. I was seeing the patient the right way. Guess what? They fired me. And if all the people, my PTAs that I work with there, they were like, "Why did they fire you, Michael? Why did they fire you?" I don't know. Maybe Shannon don't know, but this is what we know. They will give up on you. They will fire you. But don't give up on yourself. Why? Because sometimes God will push you to the edge so you can find your alternative career. Just like Shannon, she's got this awesome alternative career. Shannon, could you share your alternative career? But before you share that, I'm going to just give a shout out to Lindsay Fisher. Lindsay, thank you for sharing that, Shannon. Yep. But before Shannon shares her alternative career, I'm just going to show this again real quick.
HelloNote is a truly therapist-friendly practice management solution with integrated EMR that will enhance workflow, efficiency, and patient care. HelloNote reduces error and allows you to spend more time with your patients. It comes integrated with billing. Claims are generated once a note is completed. You can bill with one click and a patient portal, which streamlines the patient intake process. Beautifully engineered and cloud-based for easy accessibility, the software works on all platforms. You can access patient records from anywhere. We also offer 24/7 support. HelloNote is the practice management solution that you're looking for.
All right, 24/7 support. Where can you find that, ladies and gentlemen? Speaking of 24/7, I actually called their support people one time because I've been having issues with the system, and I called them, hey, I have a problem with this. My PTA can do this, blah, 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 blah. They respond, and, we were able to figure it out. So speaking of 24/7 and alternative career, we've got our guest for tonight, Shannon, wherein she's talking about her alternative career. So Shannon, could you share us what's your alternative career right now? I know you've done HR, MFR, and whatever. So could you tell us what's your alternative career right now, and how can you help other people find their alternative career?
Sure. So my alternative career is encompassed in what I call the trifecta. So part of it is manual therapy, where I get to use my hands to provide myofascial release and produce healing with people. The other part of my career, because again, we're talking about looking at people holistically. So if somebody's coming to see me for pain, I can absolutely assess their body and I can go ahead and provide myofascial relief. But that's only one part of what's going on, because a lot of times I'm a huge proponent of we are what we eat. And there is so much misinformation out there about what a healthy diet actually is and what's causing so many people to be ill and actually have to turn to pharmaceuticals, which we all know, we listen to the ads, right? Where all of a sudden you're going to have, a brain bleed and X, Y, and Z from using these meds. So for the people who are interested, we add the dietary component and we start looking at inflammatory foods and how we can use diet to support the work that we're doing with the myofascial release. As I said, some myofascial issues can absolutely be caused by an inflammatory response due to what we're eating. And then I have a third component as an independent Lifewave consultant, where I use phototherapy patches. And phototherapy technology is pretty simple, but the results are astounding. So we all know that when we go out into the sunlight, we generate vitamin D, and the vitamin D that we receive from the sun is actually generated in our body, right? The sun stimulates our own body to produce vitamin D, and that's the best methodology to get vitamin D. So there is a company called Lifewave that produces a series of phototherapy patches using organic crystals. It's not transdermal. There is nothing that goes into the body, no medication involved, does not interfere with anybody's medication protocols. And so I've been able to, for people who don't feel that they can afford to come and see me for myofascial release and aren't necessarily ready to look at that dietary component, because we do still live in a society of quick fixes, I've been able to ask them to try a patch. I charge them nothing. I usually sometimes will give them a week's worth, and all I ask is that they give me their feedback. And depending on what's going on with them, I know the protocol that I'm going to use. I've been able to help people with severe food addictions by using a patch that's crystals actually function on the hypothalamus of the brain where addiction occurs. One of the patches that is their third generation of patches and actually is receiving a ton of information right now and has multiple clinical studies is a patch that's actually proven to stimulate the body's ability to produce new stem cells and repair old stem cells. It's done by activating something called GHK-CU, which I encourage people to research on their own. Again, that's GHK-CU. It's a copper peptide in the body that as we age, we stop producing. And so these crystals, again, stimulate a light wave frequency that's actually proving that the body's able to regenerate its own stem cells. And it's pretty astounding. They have a series of patches. They each do different things. And so it's my job as a clinician to figure out what protocol it is they need. And one of them is focused entirely on pain relief. And a very quick story, I had a woman that I was working with who's morbidly obese, has so much lymphedema in her lower extremities that she says she has a muffin top over her ankle, and has been using narcotics for pain. She could barely make it into work one day. She's using a rollator and almost in tears. And I said, hey, can I give you something to try? And I placed the patches on her body, and she wanted to know what I had done to her because her pain was instantly relieved. And she had taken her narcotic pain meds 3 hours earlier with no relief. And in less than 5 minutes, she was able to experience pain relief. So that's pretty powerful. And I see that reproduced time and time again in clients and people who want the quick fix, which is not my preference, but it's also a good addendum to the work that I'm doing with people as well, because it's actually producing healing internally, which is pretty phenomenal, in my opinion.
Oh wow, that is amazing. I like what the Shannon said. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching live, please comment live. Watching on the replay, please comment replay, because I like what she said. See, I'm running out of English. She said the word trifecta. Trifecta. What does tri means, ladies and gentlemen? Type in what does tri mean. Tri means obviously three. Three, right? Three or three? Three or three. Just like a stool. It's not going to stand. It's like a chair. It's not going to stand if you take one leg off. Take one leg off on that trifecta, it's going to fall. You know, take one off, it's going to fall. In order for that business to move on forward, for you to be able to provide a good business structure, you have to do three things. Like what Shannon did. She has that concept of MFR. Number one, MFR. This is part of the multiple sources of income, ladies and gentlemen. MFR component. Second is the nutrition. She has nutrition component. And third, she has that pain management thing. MFR, because you're moving the body, right? Nutrition, because that's part of our treatment. That's part of our scope of practice. We need to talk about nutrition too. You know, just like a car. You can't go farther. Get the best engine in the world if you don't put the right gasoline. Yes, you can put any type of gasoline, but if you don't put the right gasoline in that car, if it's a 6-cylinder, whatever type engine, if you just put a regular gasoline versus a premium, it's probably going to run. But guess what? It's not going to be really efficient. Same thing with a gasoline engine, and if you put a diesel oil on it or diesel fuel on it, it's going to ruin the engine. Same thing with the body. So MFR, that's what she has. She has that nutrition part and the pain management. And guess what? Does she have this one-time, big-time thing? No, she has that initial entry offer of simple pain management. And then from there, you work your way up. Same thing with my practice, ladies and gentlemen. I have the free book that we give. Free book, sign up on my book. It's free. They can download it for free on my website, drmikechua.com. Well, guess what? Is that free? No. I get their email. I send them a copy. And if they want my actual book, they can buy it at Amazon. If they want to attend the course or the class, they can attend a free a video course. And if they want more, they can attend the certification course for 8 hours, right? If they want more one-on-one coaching, we have that one-on-one coaching. And you just have to find that specific niche doing three things, multiple sources of income. Shannon, I know you're busy. I know it's too late now in Maine. Thank you very much for your time. But where can we reach you? And do you have a website or email where we can share, sister?
I do. So the email is S for first letter of my name, my last name, S Babcock at BabcockFunctionalHealth.com. I am on Facebook, as is my business. And I do have a website that's a little outdated, but it's also called BabcockFunctionalHealth.com.
Can you say your email again? S. Babcock.
S. Babcock at BabcockFunctionalHealth.com.
FunctionalHealth.com. And then that's the same website too, right?
Babcock Functional Health. Yep.
There you go. I'm sharing it in our chat. And then there you go. Check her website out, ladies and gentlemen. This is her email. If I type it correctly, we've got a lady that types in behind the scene. So that is her email, as Babcock at functionalhealth.com. I can't even read. I'm running out of English, sister, but thank you very much. I appreciate you, Shannon. Any last parting wisdom for our audience, sister?
Yeah, when we were talking about earlier, raise your hand if you've been fired or let go. One of the key things to remember, and somebody said this to me at a time when I was down, the best revenge is your own happiness and success. Don't ever let anybody bring you down. Prove them wrong by being more successful.
Oh gosh, that is so powerful. I love that. The best success, the best revenge is a massive success, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. If they fired you right now, if they fired you, laid you off, guess what? It's their loss. Just go out, just move on, start your own side hustle, just start your own business, go and grow wherever you're planted at. And go from there, ladies and gentlemen. Again, thank you very much, Shannon. Appreciate you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the inspiration. Stay warm there in Maine.
Yes.
But before I let you go, ladies and gentlemen, Shannon, again, thank you very much. I super duper appreciate you for coming in tonight, for encouraging us. Check out her website. I'm showing it right now here. Go ahead and check it. Email her. That's her email over there. Email her, reach out to her, ask her about the MFR, ask her about the nutrition stuff that she has, ask her about the Lifewave, whatever, because you can add that in your practice, definitely. As an OT or PT, you can add that in your practice because you need multiple sources of income. You need that, ladies and gentlemen. So reach out to her, add her on Facebook or whatever. She has a Facebook, I believe. Reach out to her, and that way, we can help you find your alternative healthcare career. Sorry, I burped, right? But before I let you go, always remember the word FAST. F-A-S-T. Always remember the F-A-S-T acronym. Letter F. Find friends that will push you to your next level because you are the average of the 5 people you hang out with. So who are you hang out with? I'm hanging out with Shannon today. I feel like I'm awesome now. I feel like I'm from Maine. Gotta put on some, whatever, covering or whatever, because I hang out with her, right? So find friends that will push yourself to the next level. Next letter is letter A. You gotta learn how to take action. All this stuff that we're doing, it's not going to do me good. It's not even going to do Shannon good if you guys don't take action on it. You got to learn how to take action. It doesn't have to be perfect, but just one day at a time. Well, guess what? If you don't take action, God will take action and he will push you and push you and push you, and that company will give up on you. They're going to fire you. Well, guess what? You're going to be forced to take action anyway. Don't let the other person take action. Be proactive, not reactive. So steak. Oh, see, I'm hungry. I'm saying steak. So take action. All right. Next letter is letter S. Shoot for the moon. Why? If you keep shooting for the moon, all right, shoot for the moon. If you keep shooting for the moon, you're going to miss it. You're going to be landing with the star. I kept shooting for the moon. Right now, I missed it, but I landed with a star called Shannon. Shannon Babcock. Last but not the least, letter T. Letter T. Not time out, but teach it. Why? Because when you hear it, you forget. When you see it, you remember. But when you're actually teaching it, ladies and gentlemen, just like what Shannon is doing, she's teaching us. She's going to teach you how to start your own side hustle. You got to reach out to her. Why? Because when you're teaching it, you're actually understanding it more. Again, ladies and gentlemen of Alternative Healthcare Career Group, I appreciate you. Be awesome, be great, be excellent, and I will see you next Tuesday or when I go Facebook Live. All right? I'll see you around.
A new rehab device is changing lives in physical therapy and possibly impacting those with debilitating diseases.
They said I was never going to run, and I'm running.
The last physical therapist I went to told me not to come back because there wasn't anything they could do for me. I didn't have much hope, but the first day they put the new gate on me, I immediately felt my leg again.
It actually wasn't a new gate when I saw the device. I saw it on Facebook, actually, as a training device for runners. No one had ever used it for therapy before. And to be able to just take this thing that was kind of unheard of, put it on, and go from walking down the hallway with 2 canes to walking without a cane and looking so much more confident almost immediately. That's kind of a highlight day for a therapist.
They said I was never going to run, and I'm running.
An invention geared towards athletes has inspired a new tool for physical therapy throughout the UP.
TV6's Nicole Buckman has more on the life-changing new gait device.
Improving therapy outcomes and restoring hope to patients. The new gait is a patented wearable harness system comprised of shoulder straps, a waist belt, and limb straps, all interconnected by strategically placed elastic bands.
There was a point where I just wanted to stop and give up. The new gate kind of gave me that hope again.
A patient introduced me to the new gate. To me, it clicked right away that it would make sense, and I've been using it with patients on a regular basis ever since.
We're a team who cares in a way that is maybe unique for this day that we live in. And there's something within me that is really fulfilled by working on this project and watching what it can do.